At the end of the day, it's super simple. Guys overcomplicate monetization and conversion so much. You want to make money from Instagram, correct?
Oh, of course, yeah.
So why aren't you running them? The amount of money that they're willing to pay and the amount of urgency that they'll have to actually work with you is what I call the authority gap. And people don't really think about, they're like, oh, why can't I get followers? It's like, you're probably not worth following yet.
I love the way that you just describe the authority gap, because that really makes, like, my mind makes even more sense to post on Instagram.
And just literally documenting what you're doing. I think that content requires almost zero brain power. It's one thing to talk about the work you do. It's another thing to actually be like living it and showing the work.
I love it because like you really explain it in like a extremely detailed but simple and understandable way. So even concepts that are a bit harder to understand, the way that you explain it to me, like, okay, like this is way easier than I thought.
All right, hey everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, I'm speaking to Leo Baggio. He's a YouTube content strategist for some massive personal brands, but he needs some help with Instagram. So I'm gonna be walking him through my process, how I think about building a personal brand on Instagram, and hopefully by the end of it, he has a lot more clarity on what to post, how to post, and ultimately how to attract more clients with his content on Instagram. All right, let's get into it.
I'm excited.
So man, just quickly for the audience, introduce yourself. Let us know kind of what you do, who you've worked with, and what you're looking for help with in terms of Instagram.
I'm Leo. I'm from Italy. I've been working with some of the top trading creators in the industry, and I'm currently having a YouTube content agency. So I'm more focused on the YouTube growth. And then I'm running some info businesses offers where I'm actually taking part of the growth operation. But I will say like an 80% of my business is just YouTube growth. So help people get more leads, get more views, get more people interested to what they are actually selling through organic content on YouTube.
And in terms of actually client acquisition, obviously you're a YouTube specialist, so I'm sure some of it's coming from YouTube, some of it is word of mouth. I guess, why is it important to you to really dial in and fix your Instagram so that you're growing your personal brand, not just on YouTube and not just your clients' personal brands, but actually your own as well?
That's a great question. So I gotta say that I've been focusing more on building clients' results rather than my results. So I'm starting with virtual branding right now, if I'm gonna be completely honest. But I want to grow on Instagram because, of course, like in 2026, like the attention is on social media, and where attention goes, actually money flows. So I want to have because one thing that I'm struggling right now is I'm having a lot of clients that are having great results, like really, really good results. And I've been struggling to communicate that on Instagram side because I've been going back and forth into creating content, not creating content, overthinking. So for the YouTube, I think that I'm doing a great job because of course, like clients are getting results. I will be starting getting results on my YouTube. But on the Instagram side, I never had that much. I never went that deep into understanding how to actually communicate. And I do think that I'm doing a really good job on the agency side. So what I'm looking to get from this video is just on how to communicate what I'm doing on the short form side.
So we were talking a little bit before this, and you were telling me a little bit more about your problems specifically on Instagram. So I think one of those that you brought up was, you're obviously a busy guy, you're traveling, you don't necessarily want to sit down all the time to film videos specifically for Instagram. So I guess just talk to me a little bit more about some like the specific pain points that are preventing you from posting consistently, and some of those, just the reasons why you haven't been as active as you probably know you should have been already on Instagram.
So I don't think a problem is the system, as you mentioned earlier. On the YouTube, I can batch out 4 to 6 content in 1 or 2 days. But on Instagram, I think that I'm just overthinking. I want to be like cinematic, looking good, just good lighting. But for example, for this first 5-6 months of the year, I took 30 flights. So for me, it's always hard to travel with equipment, and sometimes I just don't want to film because I'm tired. And but I do know that, of course, this needs to be a priority, because if it becomes a priority, of course, that the Instagram start to grow. So I would just say finding a winning format, like a format that I can replicate over and over, making shooting content for me easier, and that's why I would love to maybe transition into a phone format, so it just takes less effort.
Phone format,
and And I think that's it, like, because like when I had some agency that were doing the short form for me,
Yeah.
but I was finding like for me to shoot a long form it was taking an hour to shoot a long. Sorry, for me to shoot a short form was taking me an hour. Set up the lights, try to do a lot of time the script because of course some words
Yeah.
weren't that great.
Sure.
Like, were more Italian than English. So
Yeah.
I think just having a system where I can batch out a lot of content, but they are not looking the same one to each other. Like, because like I try always to show what of my skills are, so cinematography, scripting, content creation. But when I'm doing that for myself, it takes me so much time to actually do it, rather than doing on clients that, of course, like, I'm just on the back of the camera.
Sure. Do you feel like coming up with content ideas is like you kind of have an understanding of how to do that? It's really more about the execution of consistently creating.
That's a great question. I think with like coming on ideas, it's good. I'm just used to long form content, so maybe I rather spend more time into one single idea than less time into more ideas. So maybe definitely also like finding a system that for me helps me to batch out idea fast and actually like see that ideas that and actually get a feedback loop on the idea that are working.
Yeah.
Because I want to know, like, also from your opinion, because like I've been seeing that iPhone content is getting so much more reach, so much more insight, so much more views, rather than like the content shooted on the camera.
Yeah.
Of course, that depends on the ICP that you do have. For example,
Yeah.
for you, of course, you need to be extremely cinematic, extremely good, because like that's what you're selling.
Yeah.
And I would love to find a sweet spot between being extremely cinematic and being a easy content to shoot, so at least I can really be consistent for the next 3 to 6 months.
Yeah. All great points. And I think you bring up the great point, which is not everyone can or should be filming all iPhone content, at least having it on their grid, right? Because for creatives like us, we're obviously selling the strategy and the systems and the team as well, but a lot of it is in terms of attracting people. It's like our quality needs to be really good. We are selling how the video looks at the end of the day, so that's why obviously we can't just go all in on kind of that raw phone content like you mentioned. I think that's like a couple different ways you could go about it. Using trial reels, I know we talked about this a little bit, and I think you're kind of getting it, but I think for you, a great strategy would be to keep your talking head phone clips on the trial reels. And okay. Again, like film 5, 10 in an hour instead of one reel like you mentioned you were before. Throw a text hook on top, add those auto-generated captions with CapCut or the Edits app, and just test out different hooks, grow your audience that way, but then obviously keeping your main grid looking premium, looking professional, spending a little bit more time on those fully edited videos so that when someone actually comes to your page and sees some of your content, it is a good reflection of the type of content you're able to create for other people. And I also think a second part of that is when you're testing a bunch of trial reels, obviously, a few of them are going to do better than the others. And then you can take the ideas that did well in the format, which is the talking head, which was very easy to film, and then recreate that in more of the cinematic style where it's going to take a little bit more time. You might want to script it out a little bit because it's already a validated idea from you. So that's another way to be more efficient with what you're posting and making sure that you're not just guessing, like you're actually taking a validated idea and making it better instead of, just posting all these things on trial reels and then posting completely new content on your main grid, because that just requires more brain power, more ideas. So I think that would be a great way to at least test it out a little bit. I think in terms of the going back to what you said about like not having enough time or not wanting to set up the lights every time, like this isn't like a crazy idea, but just batch filming like you mentioned. So for me, I do all my ideation, my content research on like the Monday. I spend an hour doing that, and I can break down more about how I actually do that, but then the scripting happens on Tuesday. And not all of my videos are scripted word for word, which I think, I'm not sure how you do it right now, but if some are, maybe like half are and half are more just, maybe I'm scripting the intro and then these are the broad sections I'm going to talk about. I want to make this point, I want to make this point, I want to make this point. So I'm not scripting everything word for word, which saves me time. And then on the Wednesday is when I'm filming. And so that's when I set up my lights, I set up my audio, I set up everything kind of once a week, and then film 7 videos. And, you know, that's either a week's worth of content or even 2 weeks worth of content if I'm only posting, you know, 3 to 4 times a week. So that's one simple way to make it easier and reduce the amount of time that you're setting up and taking down all the equipment. I think the second part is, let's leverage the lifestyle that you're already living. Let's leverage the travel. Let's document, like, even long form. Let's vlog our trips and then clip that up for the short form. So it's not any extra work. It's like, in the moment, yeah, it might kind of suck to film yourself a little bit more. It's going to feel a little bit uncomfortable at the beginning, especially in front of other people. At least that's been my experience. But it's like, that's going to make it so much more efficient, is if instead of sitting down, setting everything up, it's like, oh, I'm already traveling. I'm having a client meeting. I have a few minutes. Let me just set up the camera. Let me just talk about what I'm already doing. That's almost going to be there's more insight in that video than like a scripted talking head. It gives you more authority documenting in real time what you're doing, especially you're working with some insane clients. You're traveling the world working with them. And so I think you don't even need to be like scripting things. It can just be like, I just flew to 3 countries in the last week. I'm working with guys, you know, making $500K a month, and here's what my day looks like. Here's, you know, it's the morning. Here's, by the end of the day, this is all the stuff I'm going to do. And just literally documenting what you're doing. I think that content requires almost zero brain power. It's almost going to do more in terms of leads, because it's one thing to talk about the work you do. It's another thing to actually be like living it and showing the work. So I think that's another part where, like, let's just simplify. Let's strip down the content creation process and just film what you're already doing and talk about what you're already doing. Does that kind of resonate with you?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because especially like sitting down and say, okay, I need to film X amount of reel. That for me was hard, but like being honest and super humble, like traveling that much is something that I'm constantly doing. So that's a great idea. Like I'm just, while you were speaking, I was thinking on the next trip, what content should I do? Because I was traveling, and that can be a great idea, especially because clients are getting result, and I think there's not that many people that can actually show a lifestyle like that.
Yeah, and that's what I want to talk about next. I know we were chatting about this a little bit, but this concept of like brand outliers, which are basically, what are the things that are unique to you and impressive to others? And so that's really where I start with, okay, what am I going to create? What is my personal brand going to be based around? It's like, let me think about my story. Let me think about the work I'm doing. Let me think about the clients I'm working with. What are those things that are pretty fucking cool about my life? And let's write that down in a list. And then every time that we go to create content ideas, whether it's scripted, whether it's unscripted, we want to be talking about or leveraging at least one of those brand outliers, especially in the first 3 to 5 seconds of the video in the hook. Because you got to remember, most of the content, most of the views that you're going to get on Instagram, the same with YouTube, these people have never seen you before. They have no idea who you are, what you do, if they should listen to you or not, because there's so many pretenders as well. Like, they could get Claude to script them a script that sounds like they have authority or know what they're doing, but they don't actually. So like, just thinking about you right now, you speak, how many languages do you speak?
3 languages.
Okay.
I have clients in Italian, English, and Spanish.
So you speak 3 languages, but you also have clients who speak those 3 languages. So that immediately puts you in this 0.001% of like content strategists. So let's talk about that more. The second thing, obviously, we've talked about is the travel. Like, it's one thing to be working in your bedroom, like doing content strategy. It's another thing to actually be living it and like be flying to different places and meeting clients in person. That's something that most of your audience, I would guess, like want to be doing for themselves, especially if they're younger than you, they're looking up to you. So that's another brand outlier. Obviously, we don't need to go into specifics about the amount of money you're making or the amount of money that your clients are making, but you could give us a hint. You know what I mean? Like, it's different to be working with a client who's at 10K a month versus a client who's at 100K or even more. Like, there's just way more credibility baked in. And again, you don't need to be like, oh, this client makes this much. It's like, I work with clients making between this and this. It's like, oh shit. Again, that puts you in the top 1% of content strategists. So all these things are like what I would focus on in terms of creating content around that. And it doesn't necessarily need to be just talking about it and like, I make this amount of money or my clients make this amount of money. You can show it visually by documenting your life And it's almost more powerful to show and not tell, like show you checking into a luxury hotel, like show you stepping onto a plane, show you on the phone, like with a cool background behind you. You don't need to do any talking to communicate that you have shit that's going on that's really cool. So I guess thinking from your perspective right now, what are some other brand outliers, or even if you disagree about the ones that I brought up, like you obviously know better than me, what are some of those brand outliers that you feel like you could or should be maybe leveraging or speaking about or showing more in your content?
I think because I'm always like authentic and transparent, like on the thing that I'm telling, I'd rather put the ball up lower than showing more. So I think that can be like a good thing, because it's not that common to see that on social media, on our niche. Sure. And that can be a thing. Of course, like speaking languages, having clients in different languages, that can be another one. And also, like I'm coming from a small city in Italy, and of course, for me, traveling the world, speaking English, like having international client was always a dream of mine. Since I was doing photography, like events for $30. And maybe that also like bringing up like the content that I started creating content, and the experience that I'm doing photos and videos since 10 years now. So we're going to the 11th year. That can be some valid points that actually can add up to.
Yeah, I really like that idea too of sharing like the backstory, where you came from, because a lot of people talk about, oh, look at me, look at all these things I have, and as humans, we instinctively feel like, oh, they're bragging, like I don't want to be around them. Whereas if you understand where someone came from and that they worked really hard to get what they have, then you'd be like, oh, that's like, I'm rooting for them, like I'm supporting them. So I think that goes back to like, when I think of a personal brand, it really has 3 parts. And there's 3 emotions you need to, create inside the viewer, the follower, the audience, to make them like, trust, and want to eventually work with you, right? There's talking about what you've done in the past, your story, which is what makes you relatable, right? Okay. I came from here, now I'm here. There's a lot more people who are where you were than where you are now.
Exactly. Yeah,
and so by talking about where you were, that's going to be relatable, right? Then there's the second part, which is, what are you doing now? That's the documentation that we've been talking about. That shows that you've reached some level of status, of success, of achievement, of knowledge, that you are worth following, right? Because in order to build an audience, you need to be worth following to get followers, right? And people don't really think about, they're like, oh, why can't I get followers? It's like, you're probably not worth following yet. You probably haven't done enough. And that can be kind of hard to hear for some people, because they have ego and things like that, and they don't want to hear it. But at the end of the day, you need to show, and you need to have done things that make you worth following. So that's the second part. And the third part is talking about where you're going. So it's that aspirational, inspirational part of your brand. And so we're basically saying, here's where I came from, which a lot of people are at. Here's where I am now. This is what I'm doing day to day. This is what I've achieved. And here's where I'm going. And so combining those 3, the before, the now, and the future, that's what makes the best personal brands, like Alex Hormozi, Tom Nosky, like all these guys who you think of when you think of personal branding and like really strong personal brands. Those are the 3 aspects that they've developed for themselves. And so I think that should be like high level what you should be focusing on the personal brand. And that goes back to talking about your upbringing, talking about coming from a small town in Italy, and then more so going to the documentation. Here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm jumping on flights. I'm working with these crazy clients. I think what we're missing now is what are your goals? What are you working towards? What are those almost like crazy goals? They're so big that it's like scary to say them out loud. Like I feel like we kind of have the documentation, not really. I think we can start doing the story, the relatability, but what we're missing is the aspirational aspect. And I think right now a lot of what you're posting right now is value based. Would you agree?
Because I agree, because I'm not posting that much, but I would agree, because it's more value.
And the stuff you have posted in the past, what percentage of it is value / education?
I think it would be like 80% value and 20% lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's really that ratio is messed up.
Mm-hmm.
We need more of that personal storytelling, that documentation.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's like people ask me like, oh, what percentage value should I be posting? What percentage documentation? Like, there's obviously no magic number, but I think for you and in our niche specifically, it's like 50%, 40% value and education, maybe like 30 to 40% personal storytelling, and then the rest is like documentation. And so like that's kind of like the general ratio in terms of like, okay, if I'm posting 30 times a month, maybe 12 will be value, 10 will be more of the personal storytelling, and the rest will be more of the documentation. And so like that's a way to get more clarity in terms of like, oh my God, I have 30 posts this month. What am I actually going to post? Like, okay, let's break it down into those 3 categories. And now let's think, what are the stories that I can tell? What is the value that I can share? What are the things that I can document this month? And then make kind of 3 lists, 1, 2, 3. And then now we're so much further ahead than just thinking that we have 30 videos and not knowing what to talk about.
Wow, this is so valuable. This is so valuable because like breaking it down and giving like an example on what to do, like different, like we can say content pillars, like, or I don't know how you call them exactly.
Yeah, content pillars, brand pillars, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that would be so easy to shoot content for me because like traveling, I can that like literally every week, like at least 5 content, like traveling, I can get that done, and I can batch out a lot of them, and I just have to adapt the 2 remaining parts.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think one other thing that's important to kind of think about is is like, okay, that you can post those 3 types of content, but like how are we actually getting clients, right? And so that's where this,
because that's at the end of the day,
at the end of the
the
day,
most important thing.
that's our goal. And so I know the audience can't see this right now, but I want to show you this graph, which makes it very simple. So what I want to show you here is kind of like a visualization of how to monetize a personal brand.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, it's super simple. Guys overcomplicate monetization and conversion so much. What it really comes down to is you have a skill set that your client wants, and the amount of money that they're willing to pay and the amount of urgency that they'll have to actually work with you is what I call the authority gap. So the authority gap is the distance between what you know and can provide in terms of content, strategy, in terms of results, with what your client can do by themselves. And so in between your client's level of expertise and knowledge and systems and all that stuff and yours is the authority gap. And the way to charge more for your service and make more money is to widen that gap. And the whole point of a personal brand is, how can I widen the authority gap so that my clients see me as more of an authority, they see my product or service as more valuable, and then the more those 2 factors are pushed higher, the more we can fill in the gap, the wider the price can be. Yeah. And so like this is how I like to visualize it in terms of like the distance between you and your client. And it's like, okay, how can I widen the authority gap? Well, it's what we just talked about. It's like it's those 3 content pillars that you're already going to be posting, specifically the value, but also the documentation. And so you can have the same offer, you can be targeting the same clients, but if one person sees a story of you getting on a private jet and talking about how you're on the way to meet a $500K per month client, and one doesn't, everything else is the same. The authority gap for that one guy who saw the content is going to be way wider.
Of course.
So they're going to, all things staying the same, they're going to pay more because they see you as more of an authority. So like all the content, like it's cool to like document and create cinematic stuff, but like this is what we're really trying to do. We're just trying to widen that gap. And so again, like content's obviously the way to do that. Long form content's going to increase that gap as well. Just go more into depth, build more trust, build more authority with your audience. But then there are other ways to do it as well. So like lead magnets, especially on Instagram, you give sauce, you give value in a video. You're like, hey man, if you want to learn more about this, I actually have a free guide. Comment the word personal brand and I'll send it over, right? They comment. The more comments are on a video, the more Instagram sees it as valuable, it pushes it out to more people. It's kind of like a feedback loop that automatically starts a a conversation, a DM conversation with this lead. You send them the resource, you collect their name, you collect their email. Now they're on your email list. Now you're email marketing them. Now they have this resource. And if you've set it up right in terms of actually like the structure and the copy inside this lead magnet, by the time they get to the end, there's a call to action.
Of course.
Now they're like, oh, even if they don't book in a link then, they're like, oh wow, like this guy knows exactly what he's talking about. He's helped solve one of my problems from this free resource. Keeps widening the authority gap. Then you can do story sequences. For you have a ton of client results that you aren't leveraging.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the perfect place to do that. X came to me with this problem X amount of time ago. He wanted this, and this result. So I sat down, I started working with him, and I installed my, your unique mechanism, whatever that name is. Using that branded name is going to help differentiate you even more. And using numbers, obviously. Then we got him this result. Story sequence, maybe like 3 slides, and then like a call to action. It doesn't even need to have a call to action, but you could, where it's like, if you want similar results, if you want to scale your personal brand with content, swipe up, reply with the word scale, and me or someone from my team will reach out to you personally to see if you're a good fit for the program. Running at least one of those story sequences a week, like some guys make like 80% of their money from Instagram from story sequences, right?
Yeah.
How many story sequences have you run in the last month?
I gotta be saying around 1, but I know what you're saying because I'm running those for my clients.
You're running them for your clients, but not yourself, bro.
Yeah,
Bro.
that.
So you know how to do them. You're just not doing them for yourself.
Yeah, I'm not just doing that for me. But I know what you're talking about because like we have 60 to 80% of the cash collected from Instagram from the story sequences.
Okay, so then.
That's like a really, really good converting, like we always do.
Sorry, what was that percentage?
Like we got like a 60 to 80% of the cash collecting that we're going to get from Instagram from the story sequences.
And so you want to make money from Instagram, correct?
Oh, of course, yeah.
So why aren't you running them?
That's a good question. That's a good question. That's a good question.
A couple of days ago, he did it.
Yeah, a couple of days ago, because like I meet you and I say, fuck, I got so many results that I should like just at least show part of those, and then I got the historical sequences. But yeah, I love the way that you just describe the authority gap, because that really makes like my mind makes even more sense to post on Instagram, because like as much as I can widen the gap, of course I can charge even more than the thing that I'm charging. Exactly. So I was just viewing Instagram as, okay, I need to make content, but like the way that you described me, I did know about the concept, but I never applied that to Instagram specifically. So that's a really, really good inspiration here. And yeah, you're right. I should just, because I'm literally doing for clients, I should just do it for me. And do you have any advice on how to do that for Instagram specifically?
For the story sequences?
No, like for content-wise, like where should I take inspiration? Like for example, like for the authority video, what video would you do in my case?
That's a good question. Like in terms of like coming up with winning content ideas, I like to think about it as there are like 3 streams that you can get ideas from. One is you. It's your life, it's your experiences, it's your client conversations, it's your sales calls. It's all these things that kind of only you know. It's your DMs. What are the questions that you're getting a lot? What is the content people are requesting from you? What are the YouTube videos that do the best when you post them? Right? That's kind of like ideas from you in your life. Then the second is what I call like the scroll stop method, which is basically you scroll on Instagram, I scroll on Instagram way too much. We're already there. We might as well like pull good ideas from the content, especially if we are already following competitors, right? So that's where I scroll Instagram, and as I see videos that are from my competitors or from topics in my niche that have really good engagement relative to the creator's average, then I would just save that into a saved Instagram collection. And so I actually have 3 Instagram collections for content. One is like called value/education, one is like personal storytelling, and one is like testimonials. And so that's a great way, and I do this with all my clients as well.
And you save like literally you look for a content, you like it, you save that in there.
I save the video, so that when I go to create content, I'm not starting from scratch. I can go into these content banks with these proven ideas, and I can just choose the one that I want to replicate. And obviously you can use AI to customize it, and the more context you give it, the better it'll be. But that's the second way. Then the third way is is basically using the software called Sandcastles AI, which I'm sure you've heard of as well. I have this creator list, basically all the competitors that I follow in my niche, and then I go into their videos and I can sort by what's called an outlier score. So for instance, an outlier score of 10 means that it's only going to show me videos that have done at least 10 times as well in terms of like views as each creator's average. So then I'm only seeing the best of the best from my competitors. And so that saves me time from like scrolling through their feed and trying to figure out which videos is worth copying or which video did well. It just gives it to me. It saves me a ton of time every single week. And then from those videos, I can actually use Sandcastles to extract the idea, the hook, the script, all this different information that, especially you use AI a lot, you can then feed into Poppy AI, for example, and say, hey, I want to make a video like this. This is the script, this is the format. It's a winning idea. It did way better than their average. Let's basically copy this structure and make our own video around it. So that'd be the third stream. And so I'm pulling from these three streams over the week. For the active ideation using Sandcastles, I only do that about once a week. But the other two I'm doing every single day, even like 10, 15 minutes. So by the end of the week, I have a bunch of good ideas, and I save them all in a Notion dashboard, which keeps everything in place.
While you were saying this, I was thinking, this is similar to the process that I'm doing on YouTube.
Yeah.
But just more frequent, because of course,
Sure, yeah.
The frequency that you post on Instagram is higher than the one on YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, because at the end of the day, like if I would have like a reference that I saved in the past, it would be everything easier. So like the system that you're using really makes content actually easier to film, even for people that are super busy.
That's the whole goal, because most of my clients, well, all of my clients are business owners, right? They're not content creators, which is a distinction. They're running businesses. They're focusing on fulfillment. They're focusing on sales in a lot of cases. They don't want to spend a ton of time on marketing. And so that's really why they come work with me, because they don't want to spend the years that I've taken to learn social media, to grow an audience, to run my business from organic content. And so that's really obviously the value that you have, that I have, and why our clients work with us, because we understand our specific algorithm, our platform, and we can save them a bunch of time and make them a bunch of money at the end of the day. So, dude, that's everything I have. Really appreciate the time. I hope it was valuable to you.
Yeah, like crazy valuable. Yeah. I love it because like you really explain it in like a extremely detailed but simple and understandable way. So even concepts that are a bit harder to understand, the way that you explain it to me, like, okay, like this is way easier than I thought.
Yeah, and I think part of that comes from working with so many clients one-on-one, from guys who've never posted on Instagram, don't even have the Instagram app, to guys who are already making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month from the platform. And so being able to communicate, clearly is obviously an important part of building a personal brand as well. And I think you do that well. I like to think I do that well, but
no, you're doing that amazing, like crazy good.
Appreciate it. Cool, man. So I guess for people who want to find you on social media, where can they find you?
How they can find me on Instagram _Leo Baggio, or they can find me on YouTube Leo Baggio.
All right, man. That's the video. Hope you guys got a lot of value from it. Always great sitting down with entrepreneurs. Man, he's great. But stay tuned for the next video, and I will see you next week.
And subscribe to his channel.
Subscribe. Thank you.